brown paper bags. While she had long ago learned to bend the witnesses' rules when it came to the finer things in life, this was the first time Michael had dared to deceive Jehovah.
Not having those gifts unless they're wrapped in brown paper is similar to the idea of it being okay to lie if it's for your image and public relations. Well,
Michael's grip on the truth was completely coming loose. And when he finished rebuilding Havenhurst, he set out on an even more ambitious course by reinventing Michael Jackson.
I can only tell you what I know and what I heard and what he told me, that one was, I would like to separate myself from the Jackson 5 and become me, Michael Jackson. So in that separation, he changed himself.
He had a song called Man in the Mirror, Change, and that's what he tried to do. He tried to change. He tried to change what he saw in the mirror, because he obviously didn't like himself, even though he was a big star.
In the real world, Michael was one of 5 singing brothers in a poor black family. But in the lie he told himself, he was Peter Pan, an androgynous orphan from a lily-white fairyland. Step 1 in Michael's transformation was to streamline the feature that reminded him most of his father.
I actually saw the brother sort of ribbing him about his nose, and he used to call him Big Nose, and I asked Joe about it. What about Michael's nose? And Joe said, you know, he's got a great nose. His nose is just like mine, and he should be proud of his nose.
After claiming that he broke his nose in an onstage fall, Michael spent the early 1980s chipping away at the link to his father.
I saw really fine stitches on the sides of his nose.
You're saying you've only ever had one piece of surgery on your nose?
2.
You've had 2?
Yes, I can...
As his face took on an elfin shape, Michael's skin also got lighter in tone. He claimed to have a skin disease that turned him from black to white.
They said I was putting on cream to make myself lighter. That's not true.
I tried to talk to him a couple of times. You don't need to change your color. No one knows what color you are. No one cares. You're Michael Jackson. You're a pop icon. You don't have to do this. He wouldn't respond. He would just turn his head. He'd just look the other way. He wouldn't pay any attention.
And while his singing voice was always high, his speaking tone suddenly became a childish whisper.
The Michael that I've always heard had, you know, a fairly deep speaking tone.
Can we try it just one more time? Then we'll take it from the tongue.
I hope he doesn't get angry at me for telling you this, but that's his public persona. I remember a time I called him up and he answered the phone and I didn't know I was talking to him because he was talking in his normal voice, which is pretty deep.
By 1984, Michael Jackson was living his fantasy full-time, but his quest to become the little boy of his dreams had one fatal flaw, because after all the pain and expense, the new improved Michael still lived under the same roof as his father. No matter how much he spent, there was no way Michael could escape Joe's grasp. Whatever happened in that tiny house back in Gary formed a bond stronger than his urge to flee from the man he despised, yet couldn't live without.
Children who have been abused, because they don't want to believe that they weren't loved by their abuser, they make up all these excuses. Well, this person was really showing me love.
But he's a genius. The man is a genius. At the same time, he was a genius. He really is.
But Michael, he injured you when you were a child.
Yeah, but look what came out of it.
The years between 1978 and 1984 saw the emergence of a new Michael Jackson. He went from a shy teen with dreams of a solo career to a brash 25-year-old with delusions of grandeur on a scale never seen before.
From the ashes of kid star Michael came this different Michael.
I could not have a conversation with him, which did not revolve around Michael Jackson and his records and his shows, and how wonderful he was.
Michael's millions had allowed him to rewrite his history and reinvent himself, but behind the shades and sequin glove, he was still a lonely soul. Michael's options for companionship were few. As a boy, he was scarred by his abusive father's infidelity and scared celibate by the Jehovah's Witnesses. And if he were gay, both his heavenly father and his earthly mother would never allow it.
Homosexuality is strictly forbidden within the church. There's no coming out. It's not accepted, and you can't do it, and you got to be celibate.
No, he